Hi everyone. I wanted to jump on and just to say, don't place your own happiness and joy and peace in someone else's hands. And I know that's really hard to believe after we've been in an abusive or toxic relationship, because it's natural that we sometimes are walking on eggshells. We can be having an okay day and the next minute a word or a behaviour from our partner completely changes that. But the power lies within us to rebuild that. After what may be perhaps months or years of that type of behaviour, we can forget that, we don't need to tie our happiness to someone else's sort of energy, their words even, or, really warrant their validation, because it's always been ours. And here's the truth: your happiness genuinely doesn't belong to anyone else. It belongs to you, always has done, and it lies within you. And don't get me wrong, I do respect and appreciate that after, abusive relationship or toxic relationship, that is actually and can be really hard to believe. But your own joy, your happiness and your peace are like muscles. They've been weakened during that relationship, but it can be, and they can be rebuilt, and you don't need to depend on anyone else to do that for you. But you shouldn't need that external validation. You trust yourself, you respect yourself, and you should love yourself enough just to know that just purely existing is enough. It just shows that what a wonderful human being you are. And repeat after yourself that I deserve love and respect, because you do. And someone else's words, their anger, their behaviour, isn't yours to deal with. It's not your storm, it's theirs. And always choose peace above chaos wherever you can. The words they've used can cut deep, really deep, and they stay in your mind for a long, long time. But just know those words, perhaps, that you're not lovable, you're not good enough, you're stupid. Anything that was said to you in their own anger, in their own storm, is not yours to deal with. They were wrong. You are your own person in your brave, your peaceful and your quiet moments without that outer chaos. Now, you may say it's easy for me to say. It isn't. I've spent years rebuilding myself and developing myself and working on myself to be the person I am today. And I've done that in 4 key ways. And the main thing for me was about removing toxic people from my life. And sometimes I had to be brutal, and sometimes that meant even people that were really close to me. But just removing that negative, toxic energy can have a really positive impact on your own mindset. I've also set really clear boundaries with those in my circle and also with my ex-partner, which again has really helped protect my peace and bring so much more joy and happiness into my life. Most importantly, I've learned to love myself again. I've been able to care for myself again in a way that I hadn't done for years. Being able to look at myself as someone who deserves love and respect, and just to know my worth, which is so, so important. And finally, another thing that helped on a daily basis was literally writing down how I felt, and also practicing gratitude. 3 really simple things I would write down each day about what I was grateful for in life. And it started off as really simple things like a cup of coffee, being able to go outside for a walk, being able to sometimes step outside the back door, because there was one point where I didn't even want to go outside of my house when that relationship firstly ended. So just be grateful for those small things, and don't necessarily enjoy the journey, because it is really, really challenging, but just know this journey is progressing you to who you're meant to be, to your powerful, lovable, wonderful self. And every time you catch yourself thinking those negative thoughts or hearing those negative words of someone else, or remembering those negative behaviours and toxic patterns, just remember the truth and be kind to yourself, because this was never your storm, it was never your chaos, it was always theirs. And you weren't born to survive someone else's moods. You were born to shine in your own light, and always, always remember that. Much love to you all.